Hey YouTube, long time seller here. I am in the top 5% of pre-owned men's clothing sellers on eBay. I've sold over 7 figures part-time before I ever went full-time. And today's topic is these gentlemen right here, the Resale Brothers. They forced my hand. I have to make this video. I've been tossing around ideas for this video, and so I want to touch on what they just did. And this video here they did an experiment of 18 days without listing on eBay and see the effects on their store. And it's funny because I was watching this and I'm like, man, I just did this last year and I had some ups and some downs. I mean, there were some big jumps, some little blips, and granted, I let my experiments run for 3 months because I believe the Cassini algorithm for the AI for eBay runs a lot in 3-month cycles, quarterly cycles, and it doesn't affect everything quarterly, but a lot of changes may not show up fully for 2 to 3 months. So anyway, I experimented with many ways, and I gave it 3-month cycles. So I did a year and a quarter of different experiments. So I did 5 different experiments of how different things affect your store. Now, I had a store that was a little over 12,000 items, and I was grossing $60,000 every 90 days. You know, when you pull up on your app, it gives you your total for your 90 days, and that's why I believe eBay likes to run it in 3-month cycles, quarterly cycles, when they do updates and not just that, but evaluations where I feel like over the years of experimenting with this that eBay reevaluates your store every quarter, whether you're listing more, are you still at it, you're still growing, or are you tapering off, or you leaving eBay, is your store drastically increased or decreased, and so that I believe they look at a lot of things like that. And so the first thing I did, now granted, I'm earning, my eBay paycheck was $60,000 every quarter. So that's $240 a year is what I was pulling in from eBay. You know, almost $250,000 a year. Now, the first experiment I did, because I was downsizing, was I cleared out a lot of my old inventory. I mean, I pulled out 2,000 to 3,000 items and donated them. I mean, I just donated them. I just got rid of them. I pulled out a ton of old listings and donated them. And so I went from 12,000 items, and actually by the time I cleared everything out, I went down to 7,400 listings, 7,500 listings. I think I was at 75 or 74. So I decreased from 12 to 74. You know, I got rid of like 4,500 items, you know, and man, my sales went, pew, man, they fell big time. That really affected the business, but I was prepared for that because I was changing the things I buy. I had some older product I just wanted to get out of my way, and I'm bringing new stuff in. So I was kind of changing what I used to buy and sell. I was upgrading, going to another brand, staying with the trends. So anyway, that big drop in inventory dropped my sales big time. I'm talking, I went from 60,000 every quarter, every 3 months. So say 20,000 a month. I went from 20,000 a month to 10,000 a month. 50%. I cut out 30%. I cut out 25% of my store, 25-30% of my store, and I lost 50% of my sales on eBay. By far the greatest impact. So I was done with that experiment. So then I started, I was listing the whole time, but now I started listing more. And so the next thing I tried was items per day. I went up to 30 items a day, and I listed 30 items a day for 2 months. And then I kicked it up to 40 items a day for 2 months, and my sales didn't climb. They just pretty much stayed the same. I don't believe that the daily listing amount affects it as much as people believe it does, okay? And now relating to that, after I'd done that experiment and not much experimenting with listing relisting more items, doing a sell similar from my store. All right, so I was still doing 40 a day, but I was only doing maybe like 10 or 15 brand new items. And the rest of 25 I was pulling from my store. I'd pull my oldest listings and go through them and enhance the photos, change the background, use that AI background, refine the listings, make sure all of the details were filled in. And so I was cleaning up a lot of old listings, right? But I'm doing 40 a day still, right? But my sales did not increase, and I did not increase because I wasn't increasing the size of my store. My items were still staying pretty level, and so my payouts were pretty level. So that was the fourth experiment. So then I kept my listings the same, and I started trying erratic listing where I wasn't listing every day. I would maybe take 1 or 2 days off here, 1 or 2 days off there, but I'm still putting up a good amount of items, and my store is growing by like 15, 20 items a week is all from sales versus my listings. And I noticed no change with that. My sales were flat, the same. I mean, it didn't make a difference. So then I went to this past quarter of increasing the amount of my inventory. Okay, the next thing I experimented with was the dollar value of my store. Now, I had $270,000 worth of inventory, I believe, something like that. That was the value with my items on sale listed on eBay. So I took some items and grossly inflated the prices of a bunch of items to increase my store value. And I increased it right about $100,000, right, over a bunch of items to see how that affected things, my sales. So I played with the total value of the store. That didn't change anything either. It stayed the same. So the last thing I've done is gone back to increasing my inventory daily. The amount of items in my store, because of all these tests and all this experiment I did, and I'm telling you, I lost a lot of money doing this experiment. Trust me. I lost 7 figures, multiple 7 figures during this year and a half experiment. But I did it. I went into this knowing this was going to happen, and I planned for it. And plus, I had some other things that I was going to take care of, some fun things I want to do. Took some time off. So anyway, at the end of the day, your sales, eBay's going to give you a percentage of sales. If you'll look in there in your metrics, you will see your percentage of sales in there. And a lot of people are 1.5 to 2.5%. A lot of clothing sellers like that. So that comes out of what affects that number the most, that percentage of sales that eBay's going to give you. Whatever they give you, all right, you're going to get that. And what the number that matches that the most or that affects it the most is the amount of items in your store. The more items you have, the more you're going to get out of that percentage. That, I think, affects your sales, and the money that you're going to get paid is the amount of items you have in your store. The dollar amount didn't matter. These things mattered, but they mattered negligibly. They were really, really tiny motions. The listing habits, daily listings, the amount of items you list per day, the dollar value, everything doing a sell similar and clean up the old ones, and all these things I tried made very minimal effects on it. And the item that made the greatest difference was the amount of items in my store. The bigger the store, the more sales you're going to get. That is how the algorithm works. And trust me, everything affects it, but that number right there affects it more than anything. And you look at any one of these sellers here. I'm back up to 8,500 items right now. I'm going to get back up to 10,000. But Resale Brothers, there are 12,000 items. Tech and Sports, when he was in, he had over 50,000 items. Readoption Agency, what's the gentleman's name? I forget his name, right? James Hefferstate. He's got over 50,000 items. His sales are up there. I believe that the number of items that you have in your store affects it more than anything, all right? So take this for what it is. It's my experiment, my sharing with you. I took the hit. I took a 7-figure hit doing this experiment for you so you can learn the easy way. Hey, everybody, have a great 2025. Or, I'm sorry, 2026.